Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Luening, Horst Luening. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we're doing a little experiment. Part is an experiment and the other part is explanation of it. And yes, we're doing some physics, but be assured, nothing too complicated, not too many formulas, at least one, probably. And it is today about the opening of a whiskey bottle. You just open the bottle and... No, be careful. A whiskey bottle has a cork. A good whiskey bottle has a cork, which is used 20, 30 times until the bottle is finished. And if you open the bottle in between and sniff it, do not drink at all, then you will open and close the bottle far often than 20 or 30 times. And this is the problem. These many openings of the bottle will give some wear on the cork, and from time to time it happens that the cork breaks, either in the cork or at the junction between the cork and the wooden stopper, or in this case I think it's a plastic stopper. And how to avoid this, and if it happened, how to overcome this, how to help yourself out of this misère, this is the content of this video. This happens not only with the Scotch whiskey bottles, it happens also with the great bourbons. And this one is one of the very best, from my personal feeling. And it has a magnificent cork. And if you try to open it, then it's gone. Here you have the cork inside, there's a hole in it, and here you have a pin, and this pin fixes into the cork. And this, I don't know how they fixed it. Is there a glue in it? Yes, I think so, but it's very few glue and it's not very sticky. So something went wrong with this cork, or this fixture of the metal horse and the cork. And here in this case, this Aberfeldy, the wooden top, the wooden handle, went off the cork, and that's it. Sometimes, as in this case, the inside of this wooden piece is painted as well. So it's quite smooth on the surface and the glue does not really fit. If you have a look at a wine bottle, it's completely different. The wine bottle is for a single use. And there is a screw pull, and this corkscrew has some mechanism here for lifting the cork, and the screw itself, and a knife. So sometimes it's called a waiter's knife, because that's the knife here, and the knife you use to open the top of the bottle, of the cap. Sometimes it's from plastic, sometimes it's tin or whatever. And then you screw into the bottle, into the cork. And the better the bottle is, the deeper you have to screw the screw pull into the cork, because the better a wine is, the longer the cork will be. And this one is a Chateau Grand Puy Lacoste from Pauillac, and it is a Grand Cru classé. It was classified as a Grand Cru in 1855. Nothing to do with today. And at first, you have this first notch, you tear on it, then you have the second notch, you tear on it. And then it wends off, and if you have a close look at that cork, it's long. It's a lot longer than the typical whiskey cork. Here we go. And it fits a lot stronger inside the wine bottle because it's a one-time cork. And after you removed it, it will grow a little bit, and it's quite difficult to get it into the bottle again. So you tear it typically around, put it in, and then you have red fingers. Okay. If you have a cork sticking inside a whiskey bottle, please do not press this inside. No, that's, ridiculous. Take a corkscrew and remove it, and then you have an undisturbed whiskey inside, and then you have either a spare cork, which is always good if you litter your old whiskey bottles, your empty whiskey bottles, keep the cork. And keeping this cork means you always have a replacement, and you will see there's a lot of different corks with different diameters, different length, and so on. So just keep some of them so that you have, well, enough spare corks if some corks breaks. And then you glue the cork inside the cap so that it will not go off again. I will show you soon how it goes. But please do not use those fast glues, fast adhesives, which work in seconds. Here on this one it says contains cycloacrylate, and this may give cancer, will trigger cancer. So sometimes parts of your teeth go off, and then people take those fast glues and put the part on again, and this cycloacrylate, or cyanoacrylate, will work into your tooth and then it will, well, may trigger cancer. So do not use those fast adhesives. They are, well, not that good. On the other side, there are those sticks for hot glues, and these are used at the, well, construction sites, and I always have a pack of them in my home for fixing things. And there are studies of the Professional Associations Institute for Industry Safety, and they show that these are unharmful to people. So this is the right glue to use because it's very sticky, very adhesive, and there are some two-component glues people have at home. Look carefully on the writings on the back, what's in there. So, and here, now I prepared something. Well, here it is. I smell it already. And you do not have to put too much glue into the cap, but also not too few. A layer of glue works best. It's as thin as possible, but covers the complete inside. Here we go. And now the cork. And, well, here we go. And I just had enough to fill the gap right to the top. If you overfill it, then you might have to cut off the residue so that you don't have a gap at the bottle. So here we go, and here I show you the picture. I put it in here also. Here you have the cork, and here you have the wooden stopper, and in between the red is the glue, and it just filled it up so that the gap is completely filled with glue, and the cork will stay inside and will be fixed completely around it. Well, during cooling of the glue, I showed you something else. If you have some Post-its and you fix it to each other, and then you tear on them, they are quite strong. Then you tear them apart, and this is because the load is put on the fibers of the glue in a sideway. So the force works sideways to the plane, or in the plane of the glue. And this gives a shear on the glue, and in the shear loading, the glue is, well, the strongest. If you put them the other way and try to open it this way, it works just easily. Why? Because you tear the glue starting at one end, tearing it apart, so that one fiber after each other is torn apart, and that not all fibers together work against the force. That's the important thing. So you always have to load a glued surface parallel to the glue. Then you have the maximum resistance against failure. This loading is called shear. It's technically a technical word, and shearing is the most resistance. I also prepared a picture for this. Here you see the fibers between those sheets, and here in detail you can see how the fibers are sheared, and one after each other is breaking, and they try all to resist that all will break at the same moment. But if you go and lift it, this way, then one after each other is breaking, and the resistance against failure is much less. Why I am telling you that? Because if you have this cork and you tear it on one side upward, as you can see it here, then it's like the peeling. You're lifting up and the fibers are breaking, and you need less force to peel that apart than to tear it straight off or to shear it. So this is the main problem. You have to lift the cork. How to shear it during lifting? Well, put it in first, let it cool down a little bit more, and look again at this perfect cork. Then you have the cork, well, staying at the inside of the glass bottle, and this contact is a little bit adhesive. So there's some liquid in it, the bottle was turned over or shaken during transport, and the liquid dried at the gap, and there you have some, well, adhesive in it, staying so it fixes at the wall. And if you tear it, then you will lift the cap off if it's not an ideal cork. If you look at a car with an anti-blocking system, then you have the wheel standing on the road, and this is adhesive friction, so it stays fixed on the road. And if it's moving and you brake completely, then it glides on the surface. And the friction, the gliding friction or the sliding friction, is a good part less than the static friction. There is a relationship between the force you can pull a wheel to a side when it's adhesive and when it's gliding. And the adhesive is always 10, 15, 20% higher than the gliding. So you try with the anti-blocking system that the tire or the wheel is turning around, and during the turning it's always adhesive friction. And if you brake the wheel completely, then it's gliding. And then the friction is less. So they invented in 1936, the company Bosch from Germany, this anti-blocking system, and they got a patent for it. And in 1979, the Mercedes S-Class was the first car with a working, or serious car with a working anti-blocking system. So this anti-blocking system takes care that the wheel is always turning and never gliding. Or if you look at the children playing on a frozen lake where there's a slide, they are running, and then in the moment they stop running and start gliding. They glide for tens of yards on the way, and there's no way to stop it. In the beginning they were able to run on the ice. Well, where they glide it's a lot slippier, but if you walk on a frozen surface, then yourself can feel how the static friction is better than the gliding friction. And this is also physically explainable. If you have two surfaces, no surface is exactly smooth. No way, there's a technical roughness of every surface, and this roughness is, interlocking, is gearing into each other. And in the moment where things are gliding on each other, then this part lifts a little bit up, and the interlocking, the tooth are not that deep, and the gliding is done by less force than in the static moment. So this is the explanation for this. And the glass inside the bottle is quite smooth. The cork is, quite rough. And you can pull out the cork easier if you're in gliding friction than in static friction. So first, get into gliding friction. How to do this? Just pull. Then you have a lot of load in the wrong direction on the layer of glue. So the first is turn it. Because turning is the same as moving the cap sideways in the plane of the glue, where the strength of the glue is much better than perpendicular to the surface. So first, use the glue in the most loadable direction, turning, go into gliding friction, and if it's gliding, then tear it out. That's it. So the trick is at first turn to go into gliding mode and then tear it off in gliding mode. This is the trick. How to close a bottle? Well, just easy. Put it down, and to put it in the open of the bottle a little bit easier. There is some bevel here on the circumference of the cork. It's called a camphor, technically speaking, and this camphor is a 45-degree camphor, and this helps you center the cork. But also, if you tear the cork out, you can, in the end, tilt the cork a little bit over, and this camphor reduces the stress on the cork and on the glue. So therefore you have this little camphor on the top of each cork. Did I made it? So there's no cut in this video, so this is real. Fingers crossed. Turn and then lift. Turn and lift. No problem at all. Turn, lift. So it's really stable. I think there has been too few glue inside this gap in the beginning. Yeah, to remember it, again the picture, first turn, second pull. I wish you a lot of luck during opening of your bottles, and if you remember how to do it the right way, you will always be lucky. In the end, there might be some bottles where half of the cork lies in the fluid, in the whiskey, and how to remove this piece from the bottle. This is the content of the next video I take here. Thank you very much for watching. If you have questions to me, please do so in our forum on Whisky.com, and please share this video with your friends so that nobody is bothered by bad corks. Thank you very much.